Hello. Hey, Sonia. Here I am. It's the 22nd of July, 2025. This is Melissa, Free Range Psychic. Um, so, hope everybody's okay today. Another exciting week uh, with with this Epstein thing going more and more crazy. Of course, a lot of astrologers predicted that Trump would go into a narcissistic rage. Hey, Marjorie, Daniel, tea time. Hey, Stephanie. And he surely has done. Of course, he would. Uh, to the extent that Congress is shut down because they don't want to upset Trump by focusing on the Epstein files, which uh, that many members of Congress want to bring to the floor and discuss. What do you guys think about all that? How are you doing? Hey, Palma. It's so ridiculous. Hey, Jackie. I have brain fog too, Daniel. It's not good for the soul or the mind, this particular presidency. Even, I don't know if it's worse than the last one, though. I mean, Trump's first term. But now it's even just like more like unadulterated, unfiltered, authoritarian. Fire Colbert, get rid of anybody that you don't like, shut down, free speech. Just go for it, Trump, right? That's how it seems. Hey, Maria. Hey, Brenda. Hey, Peggy. Oh, Peggy, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I love Karina. What a fantastic person. I'm so happy for her new channel. And thank her for bringing you to me. Um, So ask away. You can ask any questions you want, as long as they're not personal questions that I don't do on here. I do personal readings. So if you want a personal reading from me, when I repost this on YouTube as a replay, I'll put all my information there. Hey, Kim. Okay, so Daniel, uh, what's the question here? Are we still looking at a 2025 departure for the melon felon? I'll ask the guides. I'm not good with time, but I have been getting that. Um, the guides say yes. Did you see that Simpson thing? I don't know. Was that really on the Simpsons? The prediction that the felon would pass away, like was it September, August or September? Um, oh no, be impeached. That's it. There was another one. I'm not even sure if that was legit or not. But this one was that there would be an impeachment. It shows like the army taking him away or the guards. I'll ask the guide. So yes, the guides say, yeah, time on Earth is over. 2025. He's certainly not well, right? Remember when I asked the guides last week about his health, and they just showed me that um, issue. Well, then that came out right later on that he has apparently congenital heart failure, which I think is just probably um, just the surface of what's going on with that man. Um, Peggy Sterling said that Simpson guy has some abilities. Yeah, apparently he does. He's predicted a lot of things that have come into reality. Um, yeah, Kim, I know he was drowned. He was 54, right? And Malcolm Jamal Warner. That's so sad. Uh, Riptide. He drowned in a riptide. Um, so, oh, when did Ozzy Osbourne pass away? I didn't know that. I always seemed on the brink of that because his health seemed so poor. But to the light, Ozzy and Malcolm. Um, yeah, there's a big energy shift. I'm hearing a lot of talk of September being a big month. Not sure why. It just seems that it's time for this just to all come to an end. This coup. Uh, so for anybody who hasn't watched me, what I'm doing, you probably can't see, but I'm asking my pendulum. That's how I open the portal to my guides. Um, I'm asking my guides via the pendulum. That's what I'm doing. So this is what I'm doing now. Um, the guides say that they are wanting to tell everybody that what's happening right now, and or they've used this metaphor before, which is an inferno. Um, that's that is the White House, and there's a conflagration and literally burning itself into ash. But there's a lot of fuel on the fire, so it's just burning itself up. That's what we're seeing now. And there's so much internal conflict and confusion, running around with like a chicken with their heads cut off, like chickens with their heads cut off. And there's no long, well, there's 2025, which is the long, you know, plan, or the long game. But there's so much confusion on how that is manifesting or going to manifest. And they're so disorganized. And I guess that's why what I believe is Putin put chose, these people. Tulsi, anyone? Because he wanted chaos there. He wanted uh, chaos agents. But the problem with if all you have is chaos agents, or if the majority of people are chaos agents and they've got all kinds of addictions and allegedly and personality problems and neuroses and like their personal agendas and everything thing is up in the air all the time. They're always waiting for like the wind direction to shift one way or the other, and they're trying to prepare themselves for that, but it doesn't make for a really good execution of the full intent, even though that they've done a pretty good job of like wrecking things. But even then, not a thorough job, the guides say. There are things left intact they haven't been able to get to because it's just. I think. I mean, let's go back, rewind. Um, oh, I will pay attention to your questions. I just go off on riffs sometimes because my guides are showing me things, but I'll come back. Um, I just want people to remember because it's like we're being enforced to have attention deficit disorder. Um, and what I mean by that is to not like, flooding the zone, right? This big thing, important things happens, and then something else wipes it away the next week, and then so on and so forth. So by the time we get to the fourth, my mind, I jumped ahead thinking, oh, that's why it seems like this is going on forever, right? They've been in power for such a short time, and yet it seems like it's been years. But the intent is so we lose the narrative. We forget, they're taking charge and they're like bombing us with all this crazy stuff. And then we forget what happened before. So we can't even get into that. And the, the Doge, remember when there was Elon Musk or Leon Musk destroying our government with Doge and boom, 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 boom. And then all of a sudden what happens? He's gone. Well, he's not really gone, but like he's no longer in charge of Doge, and then the next thing that happens that there's a huge brawl between, or seeming brawl between Trump and I'm never sure whether I can say their actual names or not. People seem to be wanting to be on the safe side. I should probably take their lead. So I'll say the orange one and Leon. And then, boom, he drops it in X, formerly known as Twitter, that the orange one is in the Epstein files. Boom, that's a big another bomb. What happens then? A week after that, Trump or the orange one literally bombs Iran. Did we forget? That should have been like over and done, game over, or at least it should have given us some pause. But no, because are we talking about that anymore? That this country bombed a sovereign country? Uh, and then we hear the next week that thank you, JC. I'll do that. Nicknames. That it was actually like we were we were almost given permission to go there and do that because the uranium was no longer in those sheds that we bombed, and then Iran gave us like a heads up when, or no, we what happened? Oh no, Iran gave us a heads up that they were going to bomb our bases so we could get our soldiers out, and the Orange One said that it wasn't just alleged. He said that. And then all this stuff happens. There is a commonality, a thread with all of this stuff happening. It's just not one thing happening after another that is disconnected. It is all connected. Um, and then what happens uh, after that is um, I think the Orange One thinks or hopes that by bombing Iran and then talking about tariffs or whatever is going to get us off the subject of the Epstein files and him being mentioned in the Epstein files and his past with Jeffrey Epstein. But, he's not totally in control of the narrative, is he? Because who owns X and who, dropped the bomb, the initial bomb in the first place? Leon. So what does Leon do is he does it again. And then not only does it again, but he seems to be able to drive a wedge through MAGA, right? And get the real QAnon people who's, raison d'etre, the reason for being is to find out, who's actually in the Epstein files and get Bongino and Bondi and Patel to release them, which they had promised to do, and like that was the whole core of their podcast identities. And now all of a sudden they're being told there is no such thing. Look, it's irrelevant. It's a hoax. But who's not letting it go, and who is now in control of, I believe, the narrative for the QAnon MAGA? That's Leon. So do you really think Leon wants to let it go? No. He wants to bring the Orange One down. He wants to get revenge, and he wants to get control back. So this is all happening, um, and in such a short amount of time. So it's insanity, but it's intentional insanity, I believe. Bombed without congressional approval. Absolutely. Are we talking about that? Has Johnson said anything about the ones? No, because everybody's looking another way. Hey, Seascape. So I'm looking back at the comments here that I've missed, so I can address them. Oh, that's a good question, Stephanie. And then Tasha, I shouldn't skip that. Are you getting anything about Noam at all? I think I'll address that later. We'll find context for that. Um, are junior varsity fans and Murdoch actually colluding relative to Trump? Yeah, that has been suspect because we've heard recently, right, that JD twice, I believe, um, JV, have briefly visited Murdoch at his ranch or one of his ranches. What was that all about? There's a lot of speculation there. And I will ask the guys. What I see, where the guides are showing me, is that Murdoch is in control of this somehow. JD is there because Murdoch has asked him to be there, and he's telling JV that he was warning JV, I'm going to release this information, and you go tell your boss um, that there's nothing he can do about it. And I think that privately, my guides are telling me anyway that the Orange One threatened to sue Murdoch because he kind of knew about this in advance. But there's so much bad like water between them that Murdoch is like, no, I'm releasing these. And there's, sue me, go ahead. And then, of course, the Orange One does is stupidly suing uh, the Washington or the Wall Street Journal because, like, didn't he realize that everything's going to be discovery now, and that the Wall Street Journal would do nothing without having the goods, and all of this is just going to get worse for the Donald, and it's like what, for $10 billion, Murdoch is just not having it. He's going after the Orange One, and in terms of JV, let's get back to him. So the speculation, or so I've heard, is that JV is kind of waiting in the wings, or not to, but hoping that the Orange One will be removed one way or the other, and he can step in as El Presidente. And not just JV, but behind him you have TL and the other tech bros, because that's why JV was kind of put there. And they do want to get rid of the Orange One. And which is, Elon is also, or Leon is also a tech bro. So he's doing his part. And oh my goodness, the Orange One has a lot of enemies. So, but I think in this instance, JV is being used as a messenger. If you tell him, Murdoch saying, you tell your man, your boss, this, and this, because this is intense, and it's you don't mess with Murdoch, you don't mess with that guy, and he knows how to bring people down, politicians. He knows how to bring down regimes, and he's got the goods, and I don't think that and I just read this on Substack too, that the Orange One understands what that actually means, because allegedly he was upset this morning that he realized people were telling him, his people, that he would have to testify. He was outraged by that. I think he is deluded to think that he is, like, he is the ultimate supreme leader of the world. Whatever he wants, he gets. Whatever he can remove this person and that person, and he's totally in control, and he is acting accordingly, but that is not really the case, obviously, and he's making so many enemies, because in this manifestation, or the Orange One Mark II, what he wasn't able to do the first time, what he wanted to do, which is to be, ultimate tyrant, ultimate dictator. He's playing that out now, and he only has yes people around him. Nobody's telling him, hey, back off, or even if they are, he's not going to listen to anybody. His ego is the size of the planet. So, hey, Juanita. Hey, Lori. So let me look at the new comments. Um, so JC, you're saying, let me put it here. Trump is busy putting fake photos of Obama being arrested inside the White House, and MAGA believes it. Yeah, I met somebody yesterday who, or I spoke with somebody yesterday who was really appalled at that. I hadn't seen it, that it was AI, that he was meeting. It was an actual footage of Obama meeting with the Orange One, and then AI shows like two soldiers or guards or something marching him off to jail, and that's of course QAnon will believe anything. Um, so um, well, yeah, but the thing about this imagery is this has been going on for quite a while. The AI, Obama being arrested, Hillary in chains, all of that is just a continual feed into you know those right wing stratosphere, right wing stratosphere of social media. That's just been fed to them. No shock, no surprise. Just probably something that yeah, that Rump retweeted, but is there, has been there for quite a while. So it's shocking to see, but it's actually um, it's been happening. Hey Kay. Oh yeah, but what they want to waste our tax. Think about how much taxpayer money they have wasted already. And but I still kind of tie that back to the desire to destroy our government. Just spend the money on anything, wipe out our treasury, then kind of like put in Bitcoin and let Bitcoin roll. I think that is the trajectory, both starting with Pooty and then the tech bros and the Bitcoin people and including JD, because they're just that iconic footage of Leon with the chainsaw. That's what they're doing, and they're doing it shamelessly. There's so much money that's been. It's unfathomable. On the parade, that military parade. Did we forget about that? That was just July 4th. Doesn't it seem like years ago? And didn't it seem like that parade also kind of like was a trigger for the orange one because it was so pathetic, and he knew that it was pathetic because he saw the coverage of it. Is that what bombed around I don't know, the week after? But these time now is so strange because all of this stuff happens, in a condensed amount. Yeah, 45 million for that parade. They're destroying our country. And I thought of this too. I think I said it on a live, and I heard somebody else say it's a heist, the biggest heist in history. Uh, um, Diary of a Ketamine Man. This is interesting. I've been watching this stuff play out. Sam Altman, Chat GPT creator, is courting the felon. It is courting the felon Musk competition. What will come of this? So one of the things that people have said, they think that this has to do with the 200 million. It's a $200 million contract for um, Leon's AI. It's a government contract that's been signed in, that's been locked in. And then also, I did read that there was some kind of review of Leon's, I think, SpaceX, and they were trying to figure out whether they could um, find another competitor, but on the whole, it's too enmeshed in NASA and the Pentagon. So people were kind of saying or reasoning that, well, does that mean that Leon is now pacified and he'll lay off? And so part of that is also other competitors coming in, like Sam Altman, who I guess Leon hates, and also Bezos, people who have satellites and systems, that they can bring into play. So let's ask the guys about that. Like, how is this going to play out? Sorry, I will answer your question, but I had to put that comment up. Okay, So let's see. Oh yeah, the government is actively looking for alternatives to Leon's uh, how do I say this, systems, alternatives to his SpaceX and Starlink, and just because the contract has been signed, there were conditions put on that contract, and I think that it's ephemeral. I think that the government can pull out of that contract or intends to pull out of the contract if they can find a replacement. I think the problem has been that these other, I mean, ChatGPT is definitely ready, but like Bezos, etc., haven't been ready, or and not enough for what needs to happen. But I think that the orange one is so pissed off with Leon that even though he does pacify him, and they are dependent on his systems, he is not going to be loyal to that. And he could shift it, as soon as it's feasible. He wants to shift to other competitors. Yeah. Um, but no money for Medicaid, of course not. JC. So it's it's like what government is now being run by corporations, and who do aggressive takeovers or hostile takeovers. That's where we are now. And I don't think any of these programs should have been privatized from the get-go. That's when you talk about the problem with privatization of government services, this is the inevitable outcome. It's just not going to work because of the way that the business world works, which is any means necessary. Profit is God. Uh, Stab anybody in the back to get ahead. We're just, our government should never be in that vulnerable to that. And I pray that in the future that there's such a pendulum swing against what has occurred that in the end we don't have privatization. Just, we need to develop our own programs. We certainly are capable um, of recruiting people who can give us results that aren't reliant on hostile takeovers and these kind of stupid wars between CEOs, and that includes the health industry. Uh, they say the military wants to use all AI, not just Grok. Well, now that Grok is mega Hitler, maybe they shouldn't want to use Grok at all. That was a ridiculous reach for Leon. Yeah, the ketamine kid. What the hell? Like, keep it on the down low, Leon. Don't you think that affects like your popularity? Um, yeah, Nanette, real freedom, universal health care. Damn right. Yeah, the thing about the social safety net is these programs were created by our representatives. They are not charity. They're not. They are our collective policies. Yep. Um, Daniel says 3.4 trillion added to the debt. 12 million will lose health care. It's unconscionable. But this, if we put our minds into the mindset of the people who run, um, you know, these multinational corporations, and that's how they play. That this is how the government. Remember that was the thing. Oh yeah, we want a business person to run our government. I'll run the government like a business. So this is what we're seeing. This is truly what we're seeing. See what if I missed anything. And Linda, you sharing, Ann? The big bad bill violates the Fourth, Fifth, Sixth, and 14th Amendment. Will it be legally challenged? Oh, I could probably say yes without even asking my guys, because but I'll ask them anyway. Yes, 100%. It's all going to be challenged. They just kind of the way that they put this through bill, this 1,000 pages or whatever it was. It's like throwing poop at the a fan, see, or at the ceiling and seeing what sticks. Um, and they put all this stuff in there, and but all of it, I think, almost is vulnerable to legal challenge. I started giving my money to the legal groups like the ADL and or the ACLU and just all what civil liberties, whatever organizations that help protect us. That's who I'm donating to, um, because they're going to need our help. I see us as having no government until there's a change. I just see us having an empty White House, Congress, and Senate that will all be made right. That's interesting. See, Ivy's, hey, Ivy. Medicaid is pretty close to universal health care. We're so close. SCOTUS should be dismantled and appointed by a large panel of peers and not by Congress. I think that's an excellent idea. Yeah, ACLU and other groups are working overtime, but it's a great time to be an attorney. I remember when attorneys used to be despised and hated, just as a rule. Now they're loved. They're like they're saving our world, and I give them such high esteem and thanking them and thanking the attorneys. Who would have thought? Um, it's amazing. But yeah, God, what would we do without them? Um, SCOTUS needs to go TUS. What does TUS mean? Um, so the 6 justices on SCOTUS should be removed from deprivation of rights, conspiracy to deprive rights. They should be oh, they are part of a coup. They should be removed because of, yeah. Not all. Yeah, you're right. All of the 6 justices, not all of the Supreme Court, but those 6 justices, yes, they are part of a coup, 100%. And they can, except for Amy Coney Barrett, I think, are directly, allegedly, linked to Putin and the Federalist Society. Oh, rhyming. So it's really difficult to digest all of this. Um, but we need to have this overarching view of what's really going on, and we need to connect the dots and not be as vulnerable as they want us to be, to look over here, look over there, and not understand what's really happening. Um, in terms of and what I'm talking about in terms of what the intent is, or what the culpability is of this current regime. Kim's asking, when will there be a balance in the Supreme Court? Let me see. Oh, Sabrina, don't worry about it. Um, the guides are saying when the Democrats take power of all the houses, the Senate, the Congress, and also the presidency, they actually will expand the Supreme Court. There'll be plenty of impeachment, and we'll see it over the next few years, I think, starting in this year, by the end of this year. I think that's very hopeful and optimistic, but that's what the guys are saying. Um, and Putin, again, it goes back to him, Putin, and the fall of his regime, because they're so Trump's White House and Putin's regime are just totally linked, and they say that's on the brink. So close to ending. And even though I know they're ramping up major attacks on Kyiv and other cities and doing their worst, they're still precarious. And Putin is like rubbed not long for this planet, allegedly, according to my guides. So I'm just a psychic. What do I know? That's my catchphrase. Um, but that's what they're saying. So Mark is saying, I keep seeing things changing starting 6 to 7 weeks. Yeah. My guides show me it's this. I hope I'm right. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm not good with time, but I have, but sometimes I am. Sometimes I've been pretty accurate. I think my guides are showing me the same thing. It's this year. So, and things were going to really heat up this month, remember, politically into August. Are we even a part of their conversation at this point, the right and the wealthy? No, only only as consumers. And well, they exist. At least the right and the wealthy who are, yeah, they all are narcissists and stuff. Narcissists, they gain their self-esteem through the uh, diminishment of the us. So that's the card, right? The Five of Swords. Um, so they delight in our destruction and our nothingness. Like they're nothing. Just like the Bezos wedding. Oh my God, the nerve and just the ostentation and the money waste, and yet they went right ahead and they had it despite all the protesting, and uh, they had to do that in the midst of all the suffering in the world. And then, nope, Bezos wedding. So that's where their heads are at. Um, Next protest, August 2nd, Rage Against the Regime. Thank you for letting us know, Mark. Sharon Ann, we need more constitutional amendments to prevent felons from running for office. This includes background checks to president, VP, cabinet appointees, and members of Congress. 100%, 100%. As well as like the FBI and the CIA, but they probably already have background checks. But yes, hey, Celtic Seer, hi. Oh, Stephanie, and financial disclosures. Oh yeah, a felon should not be able to run for president. And that, I mean, didn't isn't one of the reasons Trump ran for president, we think, is because he wanted to stay out of jail. So he thought, well, if I run for president, I'm free. I'm free and clear, and that should never be the case. Never be the case. It's just ridiculous. Celtic Seer says, new moon in Leo on Thursday. Plan a little fun and excitement and focus on entertainment. Thank you. I'll keep that in mind. So I'm trying to think of other things that have been going on this week. Yeah, we've talked about all this. If anybody else can think of anything that you want me to ask questions on, or things I've forgotten to mention, please let me know. Daniel says we need demonstrations in the streets, or we had demonstrations in the streets in the 60s to stop the Vietnam War all the time, and SDS Students for Democratic Society. Yeah, we definitely need more of that, more and more protests. Apyev says, I still don't understand why no one invoked the 14th. He is not eligible. Yep. Because there's so many people behind the scenes and corporations and money and foreign powers that wanted him in. And they were able to manipulate the system. Sharon says we need to overturn Citizens United and deregulation. the Supreme Court has gotten us into, the Roberts Court is the most unjust court and will go down in history as a black mark on on what they did. Yes, yes. It's all part of the plan, though, by the Federal Society and Putin and uh, the evangelical right and the oil industries and all those people to get us to this point. They spent a lot of money and corrupted a lot of people. Did a lot of power plays to get us here. It took time, but they did it. And I always go back to Mitch McConnell and how responsible he was for the mess we're in right now. Does he have a soul? Do these people have souls? So somebody asked that question. Um, so I think, let's see, why don't I ask my guys, like, what's on for next week? I'll give us a bit more forecasting into July and August. Okay, energies will be a little heavy going. Take time to review and put your affairs in order for the fall. Thank you. So I think that Daniel, I'll put that question on hold for a little bit. Okay, I'm not. I mean, I see people already, like I'm forgetting Cory and um, not talking about Cory Booker. The usual suspects right now, Hakeem Jeffries and AOC and definitely Raskin and Newsom. But I think people will emerge, and especially with more elections. Crockett, that's what I was thinking of. Jasmine Crockett. But I think that I'm not going to definitively answer that question just yet because I'm not sure. I have to mull it over in my mind, and people will emerge. Um, Sharon Ann, we have season 1 of the Trump regime. Most of us don't like the show and think it should be canceled immediately. Oh yeah, Peter Buttigieg for 100% for sure. I think Gretchen Whitmer, after her term is up. But there are others. Marcus Flowers, and people we probably forgot about the 2 Tennessee um, Congress people, um, the 2 justices, and that woman what that serves with them. Forgotten her name. Um, Stacey Abrams is still around. Big Gretch, she's she's my governor. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that, Celtic. Edwin Fruller, co-founder of the Heritage Foundation, passed away on 7/18. Mercury retrograde. What do your guides think? Is this the beginning of the end? Can you tell me a little bit more about him? He was the founder of the Heritage Foundation. Um, well, I can ask anyone because I that name's not familiar to me. Um, Yes, many of these people are passing away soon. It's like a whole cluster. So I think you're right. I think it is the beginning of the end of the cycle of these, far right wing destroyers. Um, is that the right word to call them or descriptive? These uh, people who wanted to kill our democracy and set up the path to it. The the Koch brothers are getting on there. Murdoch, he's getting on there. So I mean, it's just going to be a natural, inevitable end of their cycle. Um, that woman from Michigan, Kay says, I agree, Mitch McConnell is largely responsible for a lot of this. Yeah, the old way, right, is ending this old patriarchy, this desire to you know destroy the planet and feast off the carrion of it. The damage these people have done, including Rump and McConnell and the Koch brothers and this guy Edwin. Franklin Graham has said nothing about the plight of these asylum seekers and immigrants. Where is his heart and mind? Well, I think we can assume it's in the same place that you know Rump's heart and mind is in, or even Elon Musk, and just in these people. Like it's this the sickness of the soul that is narcissism, where there's no empathy or very limited empathy. There's no ability and a desire actually to define oneself by the other. I'm better than the other. And the more miserable they are and the less they have, the more I have. They don't really, their heart is very shut, and their ability to put themselves in somebody else's place and understand that, uh, there but for the grace of God go I, or I am one with them. We are the same. They don't have that. They have the opposite, the inverse maybe of that consciousness. Um, yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Both Celtic Seer and Nanette are talking about the passing of Ozzy, and also Jamal. Yeah, to the light. Let their souls go to the light. Um, I think he did, Celtic Seer. I was looking at sorry, Sandy, I was looking at your statement. Didn't Trump pardon those jerks? Yeah, they did. I think he did. Oh, that was the other question before we ended. I thought somebody might ask me, do you think Rump is going to pardon Ghislaine? And so Celtic Seer says the eclipses in September in Pisces and Virgo are interesting. Be mindful of your health. More flooding is coming. Does not bode well for Dumpy. Uh, yeah, but I don't want to be one of these jerks. I absolutely understand. No, who wants to be one of those jerks? They think they're going to live forever, and that if they have more, the more they accumulate, the more that they have everlasting life. But that's just not how it works. Sorry. Um, Kathy O says, I believe everyone already carries the ability to seek the one creator. Um, is always within, not in a building on Sundays. Celtic Seer says this Mercury retrograde is going to throw up a lot of things from Dumpy's past. There is no escaping the Epstein files. No, and I don't think Leon's going to let that happen either. Um, yeah, Leon, I still see Leon behind like the constant drip, 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 drip into the news cycle about the Epstein file. And that's going to, kind of also include Murdoch. There's so much because they were best buds for like 25 years. They were each other's wingman, and there's so much compromise. It doesn't go away. It's not even just a one-time thing. This went on for a really, really long time. Um, all that money doesn't buy back your soul. No, I keep on thinking of that song, or I thought about it a lot this week. The Tracy Chapman song, "All That You Have Is Your Soul." I love that song. I think I have to go back and listen to that again. Um, thanks. Here, hit the like, share, and subscribe, please. Um, Apyap says, "I'm shocked. Are you meaning? Are you shocked that MAGA suddenly cares about Epstein?" I heard commentators talk about this, um, and basically they were reminding us that the QAnon largely arose, or a big chunk of it was all around the Epstein files. And if you remember going back to Pizzagate, where QAnon was saying that there was a pedophile ring in the basement of a pizza place, and was it New York or something? And somebody actually showed up with a gun, asking to like, where is that basement? I'm going to like rescue those children, and they had to like be shown that there was no such thing. But who wasn't supposed to be allegedly involved in Pizzagate? That was supposed to be Hillary. That was supposed to be Bill. That was supposed to be all the Democratic elites, because QAnon was fed. And remember, this is via Pudi and the KGB. That's been the ongoing thing about how corrupt democracy is, and how corrupt Hollywood is, how corrupt celebrities are, that there are all these evil pedophiles who rely on adrenochrome from the brains of babies, or the blood of babies. So this was a constant content, I should say, of QAnon, which really formed a lot. MAGA. It was a major grooming of, or brainwashing of, or uh, creation of the MAGA conspiracy theory, and the MAGA anger at Democrats, and like the MAGA identity. And so that has carried on. A lot of MAGA, this is why they invested so much, or the no, I'm not going to say why, but their justification for being MAGA was the belief in the Epstein files. So now, when the Epstein files are being suppressed by the deep state, who Rump was supposed to Rump was supposed to come in, and he was supposed to he was not supposed to be part of this deep state. He was supposed to come in, and he was supposed to free the poor children who were being kept underneath the White House and wherever. Remember that? And But now he's denying that such a thing exists. So that's their major reality, or one of them. And in the meantime, I truly believe that Leon is feeding fuel to the fire by reminding MAGA about this, and probably like on Rumble or wherever, 4chan. Um, hey, remember the Epstein files? Now you have Rump and Bongino, and you have this administration denying the Epstein files. They must be part of the deep state. They're betraying us, because without the Epstein files, you don't have this huge rationalization for what MAGA has become. Does that make any sense to you? But that's what I've been hearing, and it does make sense to me. Uh, but the Trumpstein files don't exist. So you have, oh God, if you think about all the lies that have been fed to MAGA, and all, I'm not letting MAGA off the hook because they're believing this BS. But now this is this thing that they maybe some of them actually did vote Trumpenstein in, to just so he would release the Epstein files. And they listened to Don Bongino and these others who constantly drayed on this, and now nothing to see here, folks. After all these years, it's gone. It's a hoax. So I think cognitive dissonance can only go so far, and then the brain malfunctions. Um, so let's see the questions that I've missed here. Daniel says, enjoy the rest of this week. It's going to get hot. Yes, 100%. Um, well, the part that they never really even mentioned before was Trump's involvement in the Epstein files. They believed in the Epstein files. They just that whole like blind spot that Ruppenstein was best friends with Epstein for 25 years and was a part of it all. That's where they're short circuiting, or their minds are short circuiting that aspect of it. That the very person that they voted in to out the Epstein files was part of it, the Epstein files, and that's why Leon knew that when he dropped that bomb on X, formerly known as Twitter, and said uh, the felons in the Epstein files, that's when all hell broke loose. So that's what's going on. They did care about the Epstein files. They just refused to believe or didn't see, or were, like a horse with blinders, not seeing that the very orange one, their very own Orange Mussolini is actually all part of the whole thing. It's it's messing with their minds here. Um, so that's what's going on. Celtic Sphere says Putin and his crew are responsible for all the disinformation, and Dumpy is doing their bidding by tanking the American economy. When do you see him going bye bye? That's a good way to sum all that up. Yep. Well, we talked about that too, Celtic. Did you come on after that? We were talking about when we thought that was going to happen. Let's see. So I'll just remind. I think we were looking at August, September. And what my guys were showing me was an actual, though, grain of salt here, uh, that his physical transformation or departure to the other world or whatever world he goes to would be around September. Um, yeah, so that would answer your question, I think. The other part of it was seeing, or there was another possibility of the military taking him out of office because I had the scenario in my mind of Leon getting so pissed off that he says to the whole world, "Look, yeah, I did it. I flipped the election, and this jerk didn't win and I got the goods. So just I'll be on my island in the Caribbean where I'm safe and I can't be extradited, but I'm going to show you because I'm so angry at this guy." And then the potential of the military then going, "Oh, there's been a coup. This is a regime." Let me ask my guides about that. So my guys are saying that this could happen, and then before he makes his transition. So I guess that would be August. But it's a possibility. Let's see where the new comments are, or what the new comments are. Yeah, Op Yop. Yeah, Tulsa. I saw Tulsa Gabbard had done that. Released the MLK Junior files for distraction. 100%. 100%. Um, Celtic Sphere says September eclipses have some surprises in store. It should be very interesting time. It is a difficult time emotionally. You know, I've had the mornings where I have to ask myself, should I listen to the new Midas Touch release, or maybe some Buddhist flute music would be nicer. And sometimes that's really helpful to get out of the inferno and just calm down and listen to something beautiful, be in nature or something, just to touch base with that, because this stuff is yicky. It's gross what's happening right now. Um, oh, Libby sees Leon in Argentina. Maybe he'll go to Argentina. It was my fantasy that he would go to his own little island. He probably has a place in Argentina. strangely enough, and I'm not the only psychic who has seen this potential, and I don't wish this to happen at all, but the possibility of all of the tech bros being on a plane together, like Bezos and TL and Leon and they crash somewhere in the Andes on their way. And I don't know if the Andes are is that on your way to Argentina, but in some mountain range if it's not the Andes, and they're all gone. Like they all just they all leave the planet en masse. That's what I have seen as a possibility. So him like hanging out in Argentina, which would make sense too, right? The Nazis fled to Argentina. Um, Gilligan's Island. Oh, that would be really interesting, like alternative version to make with those personalities. So, oh, you're welcome, Celtic Seer. So I guess it's the time, but has the time has come to end the stream. But before I go, is there any other question that you want me to ask referring to politics or anything else like that? Because I don't mind going over a few minutes. But if not, I love you guys. Oh God, what's going to happen this coming week? I just hope the guy, it's not that when I say I just hope the guys are right, the guys are always right. That's not the issue. And I don't want anybody to think that it could be a possibility because it really isn't. But I could be wrong. I'm just a human. So whatever my predictions are, I have to work on myself every single day to be as clear as I can to get accurate information. But it's always like, oh, well, we'll see. We'll see if that happens. But the guides are always right. Oh, they are in Argentina, Stephanie. That's interesting. So maybe that is because I talked about, oh, true. Because at least that's a not true, but a possibility. Because when I talk to my guides, I always get the Andes. Can you imagine all of them all at once? Just goodbye, gone. Not that I'm hoping for it, but that's just what I see. Okay, everybody, you guys take care. I better go. Hey, Sandy. Thank you for showing up to my live. And I'll be back again. And I'm always happy to entertain any of your speculations, answer any questions that I think I can. And you know, the best thing is a community. It's a beautiful community, and I'm so grateful for you guys. You guys take care. Hugs back, and I'll be seeing you. You be good too, Daniel. Enjoy the week. You take care. Bye bye.